Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 98.3. It's snowing. I mean, is it snowing where you're at? It stopped here again. Dang it. I don't think I'm going to get to make a snowman, but what does it look like where you're at? I love hearing the reports. I love seeing the videos. You people that are north and west, especially northwest of me right now, totally jealous. I haven't got to make a snowball or a snowman or do anything fun with the kiddos yet. But the real concern, pretty much the roads. Icy conditions means the most dangerous thing that you and I do every day, drive a car. It gets even more dangerous. And so we're trying to keep an eye on that as well. And I still haven't heard back from Randy. He was at the beginning of the show, and for about the first hour, he was saying he's been stuck on I-35 just north of Ardmore coming south since 9:30 this morning. And last we heard, he finally had some movement. We've been making side bets over here on whether or not he has to use his 5-gallon bucket for an emergency toilet. We haven't had confirmation on that yet, but I'll let you know if we do. Feel free to insert your report into the show. You can be an adjunct reporter of the James Show on WBAP. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. This is Noah and Terrell. Your report on WBAP. What do you see out there?
Well, I just completed dropping a vehicle off to somebody in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I left around 11 o'clock. Didn't really have much on the road other than just a couple of raindrops, but on the way back, about an hour and a half in, got some heavy rain, and so now I'm still going through it. But other than that, no ice on the road, no cars on the side of the road, nothing too crazy.
Do you see any accumulation, like any white that's poking through between the grass blades? Are we there yet?
Nah, man, I wish. This morning when I was leaving for work, I saw a little bit of something, but I'd never seen it pop back up.
When you left from Dallas this morning?
No, so I live in Terrell, and then I work in Terrell as well.
Okay. So that's the situation we have here in downtown. There's a little bit of sort of white accumulation in like the flower pots and the little places where you have some grass between the sidewalk and the street. You can see a little bit of white between the grass, but it hadn't even covered the grass up. So these people that are sending in these videos and pictures of them making snowman, I'm so jealous. But I mean, at least we're safe around here. And Terrell's not that far away. It's just straight east from here. All rain.
Oh yeah, all rain. And then as far as West Tawakoni, there's nothing but just dead grass and ain't no snow. But got to hope for the best.
Yep, I hear you. All right, thank you, sir.
Not a problem. Thanks.
And that's like almost right below. See, so now you know where the line is on the snow, because if you go east out of Dallas, 30 will take you up to Terrell. I-30 will take you, not to Terrell. I-30 will take you up to Texarkana and sort of on that plane there going through Greenville and Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant. I-20 takes you Tyler, Longview, Marshall, Canton, all that to Shreveport. And the line between snow and rain is between 30 and 20 over there. Wherever this magical invisible line is between when people get to have fun and when other people are just getting rained on and getting wet, we now have a pretty good idea where that line is, at least right now. We are expecting more accumulation. So if it's not snowing or raining where you're at, you're not quite out of the clouds yet. There is, when you look at the radar, we have a good one. If you go to WBAP.com, Brad Barton has his own little weather page with our radar on it, and it does the same old, blue, green, yellow, red. And the red stuff, for the most part, looks like it's all over the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area proper, before you get to open space. And then there's a little bit of a tail that comes off sort of going southwest from there. But there's rain or some sort of precipitation almost everywhere else except for that little area that he was just talking about in right outside of Terrell. And so Terrell, and then what is that, Centerville, like when you're going to Houston on 45, if you draw a line there and then go straight east of that, they're getting nothing. I see nothing on the Brad Barton official radar here. Like Tyler, Jacksonville, Palestine, absolutely nothing. It's every bit as cold as it is here. Maybe a couple degrees difference at most. But that's really my only gap where we don't have at least scattered precipitation floating around somewhere. Back to the phones we go to get your reports. This is Mark Richardson, you're on WBAP. What do you see?
Hey, dude. Got to Richardson, headed north out of Dallas on 75. The first icing, as you may hear in the background, of the bridges has happened. The left lane is iced over, but everybody else is going 50 miles an hour in the groove. So a lot of water, but I'm thinking as I get to Plano, that last 2 degrees is going to be all it takes. So that northern tier is going to have a lot, but I worked in Dallas all day with no problem.
Well, the bridge, that Mixmaster where 75 and 635 is, I figured that's where you're going to see some bumper cars first, because those really high up bridges that are nowhere near the bottom, and they don't really get that much traffic. I think those are the ones that probably the most dangerous. You didn't see any bumper cars when you were going through there, did you?
I have not. I'm on 75, not 35.
Right.
But no, I didn't see anything on the overhead or the high five or whatever. I did get somebody tell me that there were so many accidents in Sherman, they had made everybody exit the freeway going through there a couple hours ago. So I don't think it's a night to go to Choctaw.
No, probably not. Probably not. All right. Thank you very much for the report, Mark and Richardson. I appreciate it, sir. But yeah, that Mixmaster that's at 75 and 635 is my favorite, because they had to work in so much. They had to work in that TI exit and then the Coit exit, because before they redid that, what was that, 10, 15 years ago or so, that was such a complex one, because as soon as if you were coming north on 75 past 635, immediately there's that TI exit, and then there's also, the Spring Valley and whatnot. But you had the same thing where Coit was splitting off the 75 right before it got to 635. So there was almost like 3 different intersections that they combined into one giant Mixmaster. And I think that's like the biggest, wildest one we have. And then with the highest bridges, some of those look like they're 10-foot tall buildings. All right, your reports, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. If it's not convenient for you to call, you can go to Facebook or YouTube or X or wherever else we're streaming the video. You can leave a comment there, and it'll pop up on my screen. If you want to take time to type it out, you can send me an email, james@wbap.com. All right, more reports from snow around North Texas coming up. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. It's snowing. It's kind of exciting around here. Let me know what you see, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Thank you very much for the pictures and videos that you guys are sending in. Love seeing it. In fact, Bruce liked the one that we got from White Right, so I'm having to text that to him, and I think we're going to share that out on the Facebook proper. But, man, it's amazing how different the world is just across the WBAP listening area, because we had, who was that called in from Terrell or whatever? Was that Noah? And he's just getting rain. There's no snow on the ground. There's not even like white accumulation between the blades of grass. Nothing, just regular old. I mean, it's cold. It's cold, but it's just raining. No big deal. And then I have people sending me video where it looks like a winter wonderland, where they have looks like 2 or 3 inches just sitting on top of their car hood. More's coming down. There's kids are making snowmen, throwing snowballs at each other. So I love your reports. Keep them coming in. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. This is David in Dallas. You're on WBAP. What do you see?
Well, I've been out in this since 11 o'clock for work, and the highways, it's all rain now, so the highways are mainly melted away except for your shoulders. On 75 southbound, they actually have 2 plows going through the right lane to make sure it's clear for people who are exiting. So it's looking really good. A cool note earlier, I was by the airport earlier, and I saw 3 Arlington police SUVs and 4 University of Texas charter buses, so the football team was out in this earlier.
Cool. Man, I can't believe they canceled that many flights, because they do this in airports like in Chicago. Like they fly through weather like this all the time. We can't just do whatever they do up there down here for a day or two. They cancel like 1,000 flights.
That's crazy.
All right, so you say you've been at it since 11. Are you going all over the place? Are you like a delivery driver or something?
I work for Quest Diagnostics. I go around picking up specimens from clinics and hospitals. So I'm running back and forth between our lab and Irving. Okay, so
of the places you've been today, which was the worst?
It's worse the further north and towards like Grapevine area by the airport. It's worse that way than actually out towards like 75 where I am now.
Yeah, someone sent me a picture of an 8-foot tall snowman, and they're in Argyle. So that's just the other side of Grapevine. So, yeah, you don't have to go much further to get some of that serious snow. But then where some of us are at, it's raining. It's kind of disappointing. I like playing in snow, David.
I do too. I lived in Oklahoma City for 8 years and always look forward to the snow. And it's at least in the Dallas area, there's not much snow. It's all sleet and rain.
Yep. I hear you. Well, that's pretty much all I've ever known. Thank you, David.
Have a great day.
All right, you too. All right, I love getting the man on the street reports. That's good stuff. I have a feeling we're not hearing a whole lot of the from the people who are getting a lot of snow because they're out playing in it instead of listening to the radio. I bet. Is that what you're doing? You're out having fun. You're out throwing snowballs while we have to be at work or sludge around in the rain. So look, it's not even doing anything downtown anymore. I'm not going to get to make a snowman, am I? All right, if you have reports, 800-288-9227. Bring them on. You can also send reports via Facebook or james@wbap.com. Noah says West Tawakoni on Highway 80 is just heavy rain. The other thing I wanted to point out here, one of the many undercurrents that happens when we have these freeze alerts, whether there's heavy precipitation or not, what happens a lot of time during a freeze alert is a lot of warming shelters will pop up for homeless people or people who live in their car or whatever. And if you go look at the list of warming centers, now the city of Dallas will say, here, you can go to our website to get the full list of them. But most of these they don't look like city places. We have like the Oak Lawn United Methodist Church. You have a bunch of Salvation Army places. You have the First McKinney Baptist Church. You have, pretty much every city has a Salvation Army warming center, which if you're starting to see my pattern here, this is handled very much by the Christian community. And I think that's a good thing. I think that makes us look good if we would ever get proper credit for it. But that's exactly why I'm bringing it up, because I don't think we do get proper credit for it. And part of that is it doesn't fit the narrative. One of the parts of the narrative, one of the foundations of the narrative with a little TM on the end of it, is the fact that if you have a problem, you're supposed to look to government to solve it. Oh, I can't pay my student loans. Well, let's make the taxpayers pay for it. Well, I can't pay for my own health care costs. Well, let's come up with a big government program. Well, I want to drive an electric car, but I can't afford it. Well, let's come up with a government subsidy. But when the rubber comes and meets the road, we talk about this after the hurricane. We talk about this after other natural disasters and floods. Government will come in and take credit. But it's really people like the Salvation Army, Catholic charities, these private voluntary donations that come from people's actual hearts and not from a position of trying to grift for power. The Christians step in and do that. That just doesn't help the narrative. They don't want the rest of the world to see, well, if you've got a problem, maybe you should turn to the church. Maybe if there's a battered women's shelter, how many of those are attached to Jesus? If there's an Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a strong Christian undercurrent in there. We just don't get the credit for it. Well, I'll give you the credit for it. Thank you, all of you absolute angels who, in the name of Jesus, go out and volunteer your time, effort, and resources for these warming centers. Because most of us don't do anything, myself included. And I know you're not going to get the credit for it. We're never going to know your name. You're never even going to get a high five. But thank you. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hooray, let's go. It's snowing. Well, for some of us, it's snowing. Some of you are just getting sludge. Adrian in Stephenville says she's just getting sludge. My friends in East Texas says they're just getting a little bit of rain right now. All precipitation has stopped here in downtown Dallas. It looks like our system is moving toward the northeast, but there's a new red area on the radar. I invite you to check out the weather page at WBAP.com. I think Brad Barton coded this himself, didn't he? No, it's a really good radar. It shows the next red part that's popped up that's kind of moving into our area is Southwest Fort Worth, sort of Benbrook Lake over to Aledo kind of. I'm seeing a new little red cell forming there. So we'll keep an eye on that. What do you see out there? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. How's the winter weather affecting you? Are you seeing any traffic accidents? Are you stuck in a traffic accident? Let me know. Next up, Elizabeth in Richardson. You're on WBAP. What do you see, Elizabeth?
Hi, James. How are you?
Hi, I'm well.
You made it in, I see.
Yes, I did.
Congratulations. So I'm in Richardson. The roads are horrible. And the first sign was when I got in my car, I heard sirens, and that was a bad sign. So, but I still had to go into work, right? Like a lot of us did. And I slid kind of most of the way there and made it safely, but we shut down way early than we were anticipating just because of how bad the roads were getting. And when I left to come home, there were sirens. So I guess that just tells you.
But you don't see any accidents. You just hear the sirens.
You hear them, right? Like, it's just like, and there's not, I mean, I would say by the time I was leaving, at 3, things were shutting down. And again, now it's just, I don't know what you would call this. And I'm from, Midwest. So this is not snow like I've seen. This is like a nasty, sleet, wet, gross, like stuff. So.
But I mean, people from up north, they continue with their daily lives in the face of wintry precipitation as part of their normal winter. Is it still funny as a transplant to see us freaking out over an inch?
I mean, we still would freak out up there in a sense, right? Not so much, but I guess we knew how to drive in it a little better, but we also had the infrastructure with, having all the access to sand and salt constantly, right? Like the roads are being constantly covered. We don't have that here. And although I don't know how they would combat this, I mean, whatever's on the road right now, what I was driving in, like you said, it's like a sludge almost, like, and so what I'm afraid for is tonight, like when all of this freezes, because like the parking lots are just going to be icing rinks at this point. So.
Well, in some instances, that sounds kind of fun. What? So your job let you go early today?
Yes, of course. I think we were going to close. We were open till 10. We were going to close at 5, and then it changed to 3 because it's like, this is ridiculous. Well, I wouldn't let my son go into work. I was like, no. Well,
radio's not a real job. We have to come to work even when it's bad. But when I had a real job, whether I was working at a restaurant or retail or whatever, they weren't as concerned about the weather conditions as they were about the lack of customers, and that's when they would close. If you would open the restaurant and no one came in, they'd be like, "Yeah, I'll just go home. We're not paying for this." And so,
or if your employees don't show up, right? If everyone calls in, because I think my son, his boss was kind of hinting at, how do you feel about coming in? And so I think she was hoping that everyone would not come in because if you don't have any workers, guess what? You have to shut down. So I just told him, just stay home. Trust me.
All right. So Elizabeth in Richardson, that makes it 2 people from Richardson who said there's ice patches on the road and it's getting a little slippery out there. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your report, Elizabeth.
You're welcome. All right. Bye.
Bye. You have a report, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I have some breaking news of our own over here in WBAP. We're going to be continuing special coverage of Operation Stormwatch through the Mark Levin Show. So I will get another extra hour or 2, and then Chris Kroc we're making him drive through these horribly dangerous conditions a little bit earlier. And it looks like he's going to be jumping on the air at 7 o'clock tonight. And part of what's going to make this coverage good is you. I can't go out and tell you what's going on in all these different places, but if you can call in, send a Facebook message, Facebook Messenger, that works too. The email, james@wbap.com. Let us know what's going on. It sounds like about on par with what we were expecting. As fluid as that was all week. When I had Brad Barton on last night, or when I was talking to him yesterday, this is exactly what he was describing. This is what he was describing on the morning show yesterday. This is what he was describing on the morning show this morning. And you're going to hear from him in about 25 minutes on the James Show. Before we finish what would normally be the James Show, I wanted to end the regular program by checking in with him. So when we walk out the door, I was expecting we would turn it over to Mark Levin, but things are serious enough around here and we're getting enough reports and precipitation that we're going to continue with special coverage of Operation Stormwatch on WBAP through the Mark Levin Show. Mark Levin fans, I'm sorry. This is not my call. Don't at me. This is not my decision. I love him too. but he's not going to be talking about the snow. And as rarely as we experience this phenomenon in North Texas, this is necessarily going to sort of dominate the news cycle until it goes away. So let me hear, what do you see? Is it interrupting you? Are you seeing any bad traffic accidents? Everything okay? But how's the winter weather affecting you, your work, your travel? Let me know. 800-288-9227. Send me an email, james@wbap.com, or leave me a Facebook message or YouTube or whatever. And I'll continue distributing some more of these messages coming up in about 4 minutes on The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Continuing with special coverage of Operation Stormwatch on WBAP. We'll be joined by Brad Barton in about 20 minutes to get an update. And then we are going to continue Operation Stormwatch through the Mark Levin Show. So you get a couple extra hours of your buddy Parker here. And then Chris Croc's going to come on an hour early at 7 o'clock to keep the coverage going. And we'd like to hear from you. 800-288-9227. What do you see? Is it interrupting your life? Is it affecting your work, your travel? Have you seen any car wrecks? Hit any ice patches? Anything like that? Steven says, we got nothing but rain down here in Corsicana. Oh, that's terrible. Sorry about that. I wish you were getting some of the awesome snow. And then I had another message that Weatherford, a listener in Weatherford, nothing but rain. And that, I find that strange because there's a pretty strong, on the radar, it looks like a snow patch around Benbrook. And so you're kind of crossing over that line. But there is a bit of a weakness there. Greg also sends me a picture from McKinney over by 75 and 121. And it looks like there's a good, what is that, like 3 inches of snow on the ground? Now, you can see a bunch of sludge in the street in front of his house, but there's tire tracks that have run through it. So you can still see the road. It's not all completely covered up, and you can see life continues to go on. But yeah, that's like a good 2, almost 3 inches of accumulation, and that's in McKinney. So we are getting drastically different reports from different neighborhoods, all within the same metropolitan area. What's going on where you're at? Rick, Weatherford.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Hey, doing great. What do you see?
Good. So my shop shut down about 2 o'clock today, and I left from 30 in Altamere, and I'm in Weatherford off Maine, and it was the freeways were a little rough for a couple miles, but going into Hudson Oaks, everything was good. It's a simple drive. Everyone's kind of freaking out for no reason. Well, at least where I'm at.
Wait, so you work in Fort Worth?
Yeah, 30 in Altamere.
Yeah, I was like, that's not Weatherford, but it just dawned on me you're commuting, duh.
Yeah.
So was Fort Worth was it any different than Weatherford is? Did they have more snow over there?
It's there's a lot more accumulation. There's a lot of slush outside my shop, and I still got guys working there, so they plan on going and then leaving at 5 or 6. So they're not really affected. I think everyone's kind of overhyping this. At least where we're at, in West Fort Worth. Well,
how come you got to get out of it early?
Well, I'm the GM, and the company decided to shut down at 2, the office at least. So, I'm going home with my wife.
Yeah.
Texting me all day to hurry up and get home.
Nice to be the boss, isn't it?
It is.
Well, in one way, that's disappointing because, it's always fun to play in snow. The other way, at least it's not as bad as it could have been, and we're going to minimize the damage. So I appreciate the update there, Rick. We all do.
All right. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. That's Rick going from Fort Worth to Weatherford. No snow, no ice, just a little bit of rain. And it sounds like Fort Worth is doing the same thing that we're doing here in downtown Dallas. There's a little bit of accumulation. You can see some of the ice like kind of packing up in the flower beds over here in front of the American Airlines Center, and a couple of little drifts on the north side of the building. But for the most part, no, it's not sticking. And I don't think there's anything coming down right this second either, even though it looks like they're supposed to be on the radar. Is it just too small that I can't see it? Because I have to look through Bruce's office for that. But yeah, keep the reports coming in. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm going to say this a bunch because I'm still going to get angry emails. People, where's Mark Levin? It's not going to be Mark Levin today. It's going to be me for the first 2 hours of the regular Mark Levin shift. Chris Croc's going to start his show early at 7 o'clock. Look, it's snowing in North Texas. It's so rare that we pretty much have to talk about this. And we're probably only going to do this for today. I don't see tomorrow being as bad as today or as good as today, if you want to be a glass half full kind of guy. So this is just a special program, but it's part of our mandate here. News, weather, sports, traffic, all that good stuff. That's what WBAP shines on, is these severe weather and news events. So reports, bring them in. 800-288-9227. Sometimes I get conflicting reports here because we were told by a caller that Terrell was in rain, and then I have another report. Terrell's getting some snow from a different person. So it's not like, that guy's totally wrong. We're getting bombarded with snow. Maybe they're just seeing a little bit accumulate at the bottom of a gas pump or something. But here in DFW, we have significant weather events happen pretty rarely. I love going through the list here on WFAA.com. They talk about some of the DFW's most significant winter weather events. And the last big one, the big 2021 Snowmageddon. So it's been 5 years. It's been 5 years since we've had newsworthy amounts of snow, aside from some flurries here and there. I mean, it happens. But before that, the last big one we had here in DFW on this WFAA.com list, you got to go back to 2013. So December 5th and 6th of 2013. So that would be 10, 11 winters ago. And then there's one from February 2011. Now, I remember that one because that one coincided with the Super Bowl. So just to let you know how rare events of these size are, here we are. If you count for the last 15 years, we've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 snow events that are this big. That's how rare what we're dealing with is here. And that kind of explains some of the transplants. I always think most of us here are either native or have been here so long, you might as well be native. I always marvel at the transplant. What if someone just moved here like a month ago and they're from some place crazy where it snows all the time, like a Boston or a Maine or the Calgary or something? They're probably laughing their butts off. Do we have time for a call? I do have time for a call. Cammie and Justin, you're on WBAP. What do you see in the snow?
Hi. So I left this morning about 10 o'clock and made my way into South Lake, and the roads were pretty treacherous. We got about 3 inches of snow out here in Justin. And then I ended up making my way to North Richland Hills, and that was probably my second worst drive I've driven in my life, and I'm from the Northwest and Alaska. So that was
stop it now. This is worse than Alaska? Alaska.
It was wet, and so when the percep is really wet, it's really slippery. And so I'm driving a 2500 Dodge pickup truck. And,
you'll be fine.
Yeah, I was fine, but on the off ramps and stuff, it was really slick.
Ugh.
And I did see about 3 or 4 accidents on the way in.
How come people from up north say that? They're like, yeah, it's because we had the lady she said she was from the Midwest earlier. Y'all don't ever get wet. You don't get the in between mix. Y'all don't get sleet. Y'all don't get freezing rain. It just goes straight to snow.
We do, but I mean, I'm from a small town, so we don't have like overpasses and freeways and semi trucks getting ready to slide into you. So you just go really slow. But it was about 20 to 25 miles an hour driving in from Justin to South Lake, and then the one going to North Richland Hills. That was rough. It was really thick, slush, wet. It was pulling me all over the road.
Yeah, so Justin, just on the other side of 35 from Argyle, I had a guy send me a picture of his snowman in Argyle that was 8 feet tall. So are y'all getting similar amounts of snow there?
It's raining right now. I'm out by Robeson Ranch. It's 30 degrees outside, but it's raining, so I'm kind of bummed.
Yeah, that is a bummer. All right. Were the bridges frozen?
Yes. Not really frozen, but when you hit them earlier this morning, I could feel myself losing traction. So if it gets colder tonight, this is going to be a mess.
Ooh. All right. Cammie and Justin, thank you very much.
Yeah. Sure. Bye.
Someone from Alaska saying this is bad. That tests credulity. No, I don't have time for another call. You guys on hold, wait up. If you want to be next, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. We're just getting reports from the snow around North Texas. If you want to jump in, or you can send me a message on social media. You can send me a email, james@wbap.com. This is special coverage, Operation Stormwatch on WBAP. We'll be right back. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We are in special coverage, Operation Stormwatch on WBAP. And with that, I get to be a part of special coverage, Operation Stormwatch on WBAP with North Texas weather legend Brad Barton. Thank you very much for spending some time here in the afternoon keeping up with this severe weather event. Brad, how much worse is it going to get?
Well, we're going to get a little more snow here over the next probably 5 or 6 hours. Hold on just a second here. I thought I had my voice cleared out, and I didn't. But at any rate, we're still getting some snow and sleet and some light freezing rain across the area on the radar. This precipitation area stretches all the way back pretty much to southwest Texas. So we have several more hours to go of, I would say, generally light snow and some sleet and some very light freezing rain. Temperatures are still hovering around freezing. We're seeing 32 at Rockwall, 32 at McKinney, 33 at the Arlington Airport, 34 degrees at DFW. So temperatures will probably start to drop off here within the next couple of hours to near freezing. And we're expecting lows to be 27 to 30 overnight. So that'll turn it to all snow, and it will continue to stick on area surfaces, and roads will become more hazardous. I think the traffic that we've seen today, although it's been light, has probably done some good in terms of getting the snow worn off of the highways. But as temperatures get colder, that's going to be harder and harder to find. So in all, I would think over the next hour or so, you can still probably get around. I'm not encouraging anyone to get on the roads, but I think you can probably get around for the next hour or two. But once it's dark, temperature's going to drop to maybe the upper 20s, and it's really going to be impossible to see very well or to drive very safely on the freeways.
At what time do we expect the precipitation to stop?
When is it going to stop raining? When's it going to stop snowing? That's a difficult question to answer in the best of circumstances. But right now, from what I've been able to see from the model, James, is that we'll probably see snow flurries wrapping up probably 6 or 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we'll be done with the precip. It's about a 24-hour event, really. Started moving in about 7 or 8 this morning, and probably move out 7 or 8 tomorrow morning.
All right. And so we were hit with sort of a second wave today.
Yeah, this precipitation area is part of an upper-level Pacific storm system that is still actually centered kind of south of the New Mexico-Arizona border down in Mexico. And it's tapped into the Pacific moisture supply. So it comes in from north of the equator, and it's just slinging this Pacific moisture up here like it has, it has unlimited supplies. And it does. It's got a straw down in the Pacific Ocean, and it's sucking that moisture up from the Pacific and then pulling it across Mexico into Texas. So in that respect, it's going to continue off and on the rest of the night. Sometimes heavier, sometimes lighter, but it's not going to stop until probably tomorrow morning when the Pacific storm system finally moves far enough east that we'll get into a little better spot, and the precip is going to be east of us. But that's not going to take place until probably after daybreak tomorrow.
All right, Brad Barton, I'm not picking on this one event. I'm just going to use it as sort of like an avatar as an example. Okay. At Texas Live tonight, where they're going to be doing the Cotton Bowls tomorrow. But tonight, the Notre Dame-Penn State game is happening. They're having a big party. The Cotton Bowl crew is having a big party at Texas Live. Would you recommend against someone going?
Now, tell me, you'll have to pardon me, tell me where Texas Live is, and is it outdoor or indoors?
Oh, it's indoor, and it's in that space between the Cowboy Stadium and Globe Life Field where the Ranger play.
Okay, I got it. All right. Getting there is going to be a battle. You're going to be on I-30. You're going to be on Highway 360. Those all have overpasses. They're going to be frozen over. Once you're there this afternoon and evening, it might be okay to stay put for a while, but on your way home, then you're going to have frozen roads with precip on them, so rather icy. I know this is a once-in-a-lifetime event for a lot of people, so I respect that, but boy, you have to be extremely careful. You can get through on the freeways if you're careful, if you're cautious, if you don't do anything stupid, you can probably get there, but you can't account for somebody else not being careful or cautious or doing something stupid in front of you.
All right, Brad Barton. I just have a feeling, too, that for some people like Texas fans, that this is a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and, you don't want to tell them to just stay home. But, boy, if you're at a hotel that's close or walking distance to the parties that are happening over the next couple of days, what a great addition the snow is to the experience.
Well, that's true. And I'll tell you, the precip is still pretty heavy in Dallas and in Collin counties right now. We've seen some not just light snow, but moderate to at times heavy snow, bigger flakes. And it just tells us that this system still has several more hours before it plays out across the area. Here it is. So like 4:30 in the afternoon, probably another 12 hours before it finally moves out. So it's not going to get much better, tonight. And in fact, visibility, of course, will be cut down a little bit more. So it's not real safe to be out there. I understand people want to get out there, but you're going to be putting yourself at risk. That's for sure.
Yep. Just keep that in mind. It was wild in the first hour of the James show today, Brad. I saw the snow go from barely snowing to snowing pretty hard to stopping. And then it started raining. And I mean, just total water. It wasn't a mix or anything. It was all water.
I saw that on radar, and that moved from downtown Dallas on out to Collin County. And that's where it is now. It's out just a little bit to the northeast of Rockwall. A fairly heavy precip there. What I see right now, I still see some moderate to heavy precip moving through southeastern Dallas County, and there's still more coming. Again, this is lined up all the way down to San Angelo and beyond, down toward the Big Bend country, and we are under the spout. We're under the spout right now, and until that spout moves off to the east, that'll be sometime tomorrow morning, it's going to be like this, off and on, sometimes light, sometimes heavy, sometimes heavy snow, sometimes rain, but it's cold enough that a lot of it's going to be snow, and it's piling up right now. Bridges and overpasses are in bad shape. This afternoon, I came home in just a big slush storm, and it's got to be worse now than it was then. So you just have to, have to figure this out. Is it worth my safety? Is it worth,
how big of a fan are you?
Yeah, right. That's right. How big a boy are you? That's exactly right.
Well, Brad Barton on WFAA.com, they were going through some of the big recent snowstorms over the last 20 years, and it looks like this might rank in the top 4.
Well, in terms of the amount of snow, yeah, it's going to be, yeah, I'd say top 10. The good thing is, though, James, it's not that cold. It's like 31 to 33 degrees, and temperatures are well above freezing in some areas. So the snow is trying to melt as it hits the ground. But now we already have a coating of snow on the ground. So that process is going to stop. It's going to start piling up. Same thing on the bridges and overpasses. And again, we're expecting lows between 27 and 30 tonight. So it is going to be icy. It's not just going to be slushy. It's going to be icy after dark. And of course, more difficult to see. And the precip is not going to end for another 12 hours. So you're going to have to keep that in mind. If you're going to be out and around tonight, it's not going to get any better and could well get a whole lot worse.
All right, Brad Barton, before you get out of here, just so people can appreciate the level of hustle here, what time did you wake up this morning?
Oh, well, I was up at a little after 3:15, I guess, this morning. We came back from Kansas.
Oh, my God.
We had our vacation up there in Kansas this week, and of course, it was 1 degree above zero when we left Tuesday morning to come back here, and they'd had a real blizzard up there, and fortunately, it's not that cold down here, but it sure is snowy, and it's going to be that way through tomorrow morning.
Brad Barton, we appreciate all the hard work. Thank you very much, sir.
You bet, James. Take care.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Brad Barton doing a special check-in. Special coverage of Operation Stormwatch on WBAP. The man's been up since 3 a.m., and he's still hustling to get you the latest on the snow. I'd like to hear from you, 800-288-9227. Is it snowing where you're at? What do you see? Is it affecting you? Is it affecting your work, your travel? Did you see any big car wrecks? Everybody okay? Did you make a snowman? Do you want to make me jealous? You want to send me a picture, rub it in my face? Go ahead. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. It's snowing. That's why we're doing special coverage, Operation Stormwatch on WBAP. Mark Levin is going to be preempted by special coverage of Operation Stormwatch. I'm going to be continuing for the next couple of hours. Chris Croc's going to join at 7 o'clock and get an extra hour of Croc in. And one of the reasons we have to do this is they're not talking about the snow anywhere else. Mark Levin, you can't expect him to keep you abreast on if there's any serious accidents or conditions, or if the weather flares up again, or what's going on, or getting reports, or who's building a snowman or whatever. The terrible irony, or just juxtaposition, I should say, is that the national news is consumed with the fires that are going on in California, and rightfully so. That's a legit news story. You know, there's no questioning of journalistic integrity making that your headlines. It's I was really dismissive of that story earlier this week because, like, yeah, they have fires in California all the time. Oh, look, Santa Ana winds or having another wildfire. Oh, they lost a bunch of houses. They do that about every year, don't they? I think this is a little worse than what we're used to over there. And it's so difficult to go side by side, back and forth. What are we dealing with? Ice is falling out of the sky. What's the top headline of the news, nationally speaking? A fire? Well, that's the opposite of what we're experiencing. They're experiencing unusually hot conditions. We're experiencing unusually cold conditions. But there's some weird overlaps with that. Like, these are the opposite ends of the temperature spectrum. But you're still seeing some of the same things like, people are getting locked on the street. They're having some traffic conditions. A bunch of people had to abandon their car up in the hills. And we're having some traffic conditions down here just for the totally opposite reason, though. So I do not like bumping Mark Levin, but on a day like today, this is one of the rare, I don't want to say emergencies, but as rare as this is, snow falling in North Texas, that's how special of an occasion we're dealing with here. So we're getting a little bit, it looks like we're getting back to the sprinkle. No? Well, it was for a second there on the break. I was seeing a couple of drops. It's almost like a mist. What's going on where you are? 800-288-9227. Because we're getting vastly different experiences here. If you are going on I-30 east of Dallas up to Greenville, Sulphur Springs, Mount Pleasant, all that, you're seeing snow right now. If you're going on I-20 straight east out of Dallas to like Tyler, Longview, Shreveport, rain. So what's going on where you're at? 800-288-9227. This is Steve in Fort Worth. What do you see out there?
Hey, man, yeah, I live in Irving, and I drove to Fort Worth this morning for work at 6 a.m. Now I'm on my way back home, and it's basically what you've been talking about. I watched it change over there. South Fort Worth, right there at I-35 and I-20, literally the first exit.
Mm-hmm.
And I work outside in the yard moving trailers all around. So I've been out in this all day watching it, and it's been exactly what you're reporting over there. Same thing here, except for, 2.5 hours ago, it just came a rain like it was spring. And the temperature's 33 degrees, has been since I left, and it's just pouring down rain, and it's mixed with the slush. And I guess like my grandpa used to say, it's slicker than snot on a door handle out here.
Yeah, my grandfather used to say it's slicker than another S word. But
yeah,
we've had such a weird change because when I was first aware of the precipitation this morning, I heard it hitting the window and I was like, wait a second, that's not rain anymore. There's a little bit of mass to that. And there was a sleet mix, and then it turned to snow, then it stopped, then it snowed again, then it stopped, and then it sleeted and turned into rain. So it's been like 4 different things just over the course of the last 8 hours.
So I just want to say 20 to 360 north. Now I'm on 30, and it's been nothing but rain and just hovering above freezing. And the traffic's light. The roads are good, but like I said, they're really slick, because of the rain and the slush. But we're moving 55 miles an hour or so, and I'm almost to Irving now. I've done past the stadium and all that. So,
well, that's what I was talking to Brad Barton about right there at 360 and 30 is where they're going to have the big party tonight. The Super Bowl people have Texas Live all decked out, and then they're going to have the Cotton Bowl over at the Cowboys Stadium tomorrow. So just for a lot of people, I'm not like personally invested in this, but I think if I'm thinking about the tens of thousands of people who have made this their vacation destination, and maybe they're big Longhorn fans, and this is like the time of their lives. Let's keep the chaos to a minimum, at least through the Cotton Bowl. That's going to be a super important little area for some people for the rest of their life. So
it's not too bad at the moment. So, but like he said, it might be when you're trying to get back for sure.
All right. Good stuff. All right, Stephen Fort Worth, what do you mean hauling trailers around? Like for big diesels or what? Oh, he left. All right. I'm interested in people's jobs because people will tell you about their job 2 different ways. They'll tell you what their official position is, and they almost tell you that if their job is boring or they can't explain it. And then there's the guys who actually have real jobs who tell you not what their position is, but what they do. I'm just hauling trailers around. Whatever that means. That sounds like a cool job. Maybe not for this type of weather, though. All right, more reports. Bring them on. 800-288-9227. You want to brag about all the awesome snow you got in your yard? How big was your snow, man? You can go ahead, rub it in our face. We're a little jealous down here where we're just dealing with sludge. But I'd love to hear from you either way. Traffic reports, welcome. 800-288-9227. Special coverage, Operation Stormwatch continues on WBAP. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.